Hi everyone!
We're at the Chippewa Nature Center for their Maple Syrup Day.
Yes, I love maple syrup. Also, Sunday, which is tomorrow, is St. Patrick's Day, so that's why I'm wearing like clovers.
You see how they got all the trees tapped that can produce syrup.
Yep. And there's like a sugar house where you can see them like boil it, right?
Yep. And there's the the Chippewa River, and the Pine River flows into it right up there. So we got a lot of rain the last couple days.
Yep.
So the river's really moving now. You can hear the frogs chirping.
Oh, those are frogs.
Yep.
So we just got to like the farm.
The homestead.
Yeah, the homestead, and we beat the wagon there.
Yep.
So yeah, we're going to go look at maple syrup, I think, right?
Yeah.
So over 100 years ago, this is how they would have started cooking down sap. Anybody know why we would want to cook down maple sap?
So that they'll make maple syrup.
Oh!
It didn't. And like because when you have sap, it's like watery, and then
Yes.
like you have to, and like when you cook it, it's supposed to like evaporate.
You get rid of most of the water, yeah.
And it's sugar.
You can actually, so we wouldn't make syrup in here. We would get close to it. But we would boil this all day long and keep adding sap to it. And then once at the end of the day, we would let it get lower, get a lot of the water out, and have to go to a smaller pot. Now there's a reason you go to a smaller container to cook it in, because you have to be really careful when you're approaching syrup, when you're near finishing. And you know why? Well, this doesn't really have any bubbles in it, but when you almost have syrup, you start getting bubbles and foam, and it wants to escape. It really wants out. So when you're boiling further in a smaller pot, you have to watch it the whole time, and sometimes you have to yank it from the fire or add some more sap to cool it down, because the foam can actually climb all the way out, dribble over the edges, and burn. Now, maple syrup smells pretty good, right? What do you think burnt maple syrup smells like? Not good. Not good. So we don't want that to happen. Now, if you're really careful and you stir the maple syrup that's still hot in a little pot, you can actually get it a little thicker and dump some of this hot mapley stuff over snow. You make a line in the snow, and then you take a stick and roll it up. Now, on the stick, you have a mixture of maple taffy and ice. Do you think maple taffy would taste good? No, it tastes great. Warm maple taffy and ice crystals are for contrast. Best thing I've ever tasted, ever.
And you can get samples of maple sap syrup in there. They're pouring it onto the snow right in front of you.
Now, if you want to work just a little more, you can keep stirring that pot of maple syrup, or actually it's taffy consistency. Get rid of all the water. Pour this molten stuff into a wooden trough or something cool, and it will become a solid. What you have is maple sugar. And you can break that up with a stick. That's what the natives made. Native Americans did not make maple syrup. Maple sugar is much easier to store. You can fold a bark container, it'll hold it real easily. If you fold a bark container and put syrup in it, a lot's gonna leak all over the place. And also they traded maple sugar. They made it mostly for trade good. Almost all the maple sugar made around this area of Michigan ended up in Detroit. And they have records from over 100 years ago, all the sugar they brought in. Any questions?
The chamber pot, because because if you look at how far away the outhouse is, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
December
freezing,
and it's
yeah.
freezing, you gotta pee somewhere. And one of the kids got to empty that in the morning. Yes, that would have been a disgusting job. Yeah. Because there's no electricity, all the rugs, somebody would have had to take it out regularly. So I call this a good anger management tool. So if you're really mad at one of your siblings, you just beat the rug.
Building your resilience.
Yes, or your muscles. They all had to have been really strong. I mean, because if you think about it, if you know running water, so you had to go to a pump and hopefully had a well, get your water. You'd be bringing wood in for the fire. You'd be gardening. You'd be taking care of the chickens and the sheep and whatever animals you had. So everybody had chores to do. One of the other chores is, if you see on the table there, and they're all around, are these lanterns. They're oil lanterns, so somebody would have made sure the oil was in there, the taper was working, because that was their source of light, especially, you know, when it gets dark at 5 o'clock in the middle of winter, and it's not quite time for bed. The parents would have probably slept downstairs. The kids would probably, so not ideal. The other thing that they would have done, wool shrinks. So they would put their socks over this to keep it shape. And obviously they'd have different sizes, because this is way too big for some of the little feet that goes through. But that would have been another handy tool. We do Homestead Sundays. We're open from 1 till 4. There's always a theme. So some weeks it'll be the farm animals, because we'll have cow, and who usually calves during the time they're here, chickens and pigs and some sheep. We also do weavers. They'll show how they spin wool and knit different things. We have farm tools as a theme. So all kinds of different themes that you can come and learn about for that particular week. So something to check out if you've got nothing to do on a summer's afternoon and Sundays, and it'll be great.
It has a little bit of a musical flavor, and you use it the same way. Both of these things to a homesteader would have been really precious commodities. So everybody would have had lots of it, because what are you guys doing this time of year? You're not out in the fields plowing. You're not planting seeds. March is a really quiet time for farmers. And so you have time to go sit in that sugar shack 24 hours a day for 3 weeks and take 40 gallons and make 1 gallon. And we are very happy that you did it. In the meantime, the homemaker needs to use up what she has in the root cellar. It's been there since October. So everybody, but they've been sitting there since, I think, since they weren't mixed this nice. Yes. To check, have to have a license. To preserve vegetables is either keep them fresh, or
Yeah.
Ooh, take it.
Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So might you want as many at once to make it work?
No, there's 3 of us.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna. Is that like a taffy?
Maple taffy, yeah.
Maple taffy? Okay. And it's really good. Okay.
And then you gotta tilt it down just a little bit so that when the hole that we make, it goes down. Yeah, I think that way is the way. There you go. You're doing it. So it goes in 1.5 to 2 inches, because we're just trying to get the sapwood, the wood that is alive, although this is not. So we're doing some demo here. Let's see. Some wooden ones. Yeah, you can hold those up actually. They're a measuring tool to determine whether the trees are big enough or not. When they're really small, they're not. They gotta grow a little bit because sap is kind of like taking blood. Once they're big enough, then we can tap them, which we're drilling a hole in there, and then you can stop. Actually, that's as far as you can go. You pull it out, and then the next step is to tap it. Do you want to give it a couple? And then maybe we'll share the hammer. Anyone else that wants to give it a good little whack here.